We are Legion.
What is going on, comic community? Welcome to the Legion of Comics. I'm Mark, and it's a huge week for comics. Not a ton of stuff coming out. And this is Finn too. Not a ton of stuff coming out, but the stuff that is gangbusters. So before we get into it, check this out. All right, guys, if you haven't already, hit that thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel. A lot of good stuff coming out all the time. At least I think it's good. If you enjoy talking comics and breaking down comics, this is the place to be. And let's get right into it. I am joined by the usual partner in crime, the other Robin to my Robin, you guy Ryan. What's going on?
What's up, man?
I'm excited. I'm just excited.
Oh my god, dude! Like I finished reading Supergirl at 11:14. So
You've already read it?
Oh my god, it's so good.
Oh, you sat. Before we even get into that any farther, let's go ahead and bring in. We got a special guest, Mr. Cameo himself, the mustache with a face behind it. We have Brent.
What's up, guys?
What's going on,
How's it going, man?
It's going good. I finally finished growing the rest of my body out from the mustache, so I was in recovery for a couple days, but I'm glad to be here.
It was really hard to look at, so I'm glad you finished that up.
Yeah, like Deadpool with the baby
the whole
legs.
Deadpool with the baby legs. That's awesome.
Oh man,
so we got a few people already watching. Let's say hey to some people in the chat. We got Mr. DJ Links, the man, the myth, the legend. Talk about facial hair. That guy's got a beard. It's a glorious beard. Good day to you, sir.
Very nice.
We got Tomorrow Cinemas in here. What's up, Manny Station, brother? Remy Q Studios, how are you doing today? Late as usual. That's right, Scott. Late as usual. We don't like to be on time. We don't want to be predictable. Then people know your routine. They start saying things like premeditated. Yeah, we don't want any of that. We got Free Key Louie in here. He said, let's talk about Specs, baby. We might do that, Louie. We actually will. It isn't something that I do often on my channel, but it's actually relevant to the stuff that I do on my channel this week. Very relevant. Yeah. So I figure we'd point some of that out. Finn, I need you to sit down because sister's copying what you're doing, and y'all are both going to end up dying. It's not good. Won't get good for my daddy record.
Yeah. No, that ain't gonna work.
What is going on? I'm glad you could make it. Austin LeMay is up in the building. As always, I'm always happy to have Austin in here. And for everyone who doesn't know, they should know, hashtag Austin over Peach. Check out his IG account. The man is a wicked artist. Absolutely amazing. Wonder Girl issue 1 was very good. Yeah, we talked about it a couple weeks ago when it first dropped. You can go back and you can find it really easily on my channel. I think she's included on the picture of the video that we talk about it on. I don't know if I saw the foil cover on it. Say what?
I said story-wise, I loved it. I thought it was it reminded me of the base of Peter Parker. Like she's this regular girl who she's Brazilian, so she grew up in a Brazilian household, but in the States. So she's familiar with the Brazilian culture. She understands what Brazil is, but it means more to her because she hasn't really been back in all these years. And so it gives her this great sense of curiosity, but also allows her to, play an active role in the world that she's in. And so I thought that was cool. And then they really get down into the spirit of what a hero is. And that part to me was very Peter Parker-y, and that she naturally has this instinct to run into danger in order to save lives. And so I'm excited. We didn't get any superhero stuff necessarily in that one, in the sense the costume and all that, but that's definitely where the cliffhanger lies. So I'm excited for Supergirl, or for Wonder Girl too, because that's going to give us the suit and the powers and probably dive us a little deeper into the lore and mythos around the Brazilian pantheon.
Yeah, and that's what I had talked about before. That's where my interest is at most, probably. With Greek and Roman mythology.
What's up, man?
We hear about it often in all kinds of media and all kinds of stories, but getting this South American pantheon of gods and everything that I'm not so familiar with, at all, that's very exciting and interesting. And I'll look forward to diving into that. It was cool how they started this first issue, the introduction, and then obviously seeing where she's going to be gathering some of her weapons from, with the way the issue with her getting her bolo, or seeing her bolo, not receiving it. I don't know if she's going to have to fight for it, if it's going to be given to her. We'll see. But definitely a strong issue. I love the character. Jolie Jones has done amazing with it.
Joel
Justin
Jones.
Comics, yeah. Justin Comics is fantastic. He's here. Yeah, Jolie Jones.
Jolene.
Yeah, her Lady Killer series I really enjoyed. That was an awesome series. I don't know if you guys have checked it out, but that is a very cool concept, really cool story. I wish she was able to do more.
Southern Comic Geek is up in the
It just
Jason.
It just went into production, didn't it? For a show, I think.
Last thing I remember was that they had cast Blake Lively as the protagonist. That's the last thing I saw, but I'm super excited to see that. Her artwork is amazing, very elegant. I love it.
Real quick, speaking of amazing artwork, I don't normally do this, but I pulled a straight cover by today. Because I always kind of show off what I picked up today on here, but I've got to show this off because I could not pass it up. First off, Jenny Frison is amazing.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. Ram V is a god amongst men right now with his writing. And this was just my absolute favorite costume this character has ever worn. And it was the last one on the shelf at open even. That is
very
just
nice.
The sickest Catwoman cover I have ever seen in my life.
That is pretty awesome.
Look at that.
Yeah.
The colors on it are fantastic. I don't know how they did purple on a purple backdrop and still made it pop, but good God.
Yeah.
That is so fierce.
It's all the shadows. Makes it pop off the background.
It's wicked. So I have not kept up with the story. I did read it for Future State, so March.
Oh, I'm excited for this book.
Yeah, you talk about it heavily.
This should be the book where we get like an actual combat with that like crazy hive comb villain, and based on the A cover, I think Preacher Valley is going to come in again, which he was like teased in the last one. He had an excellent scene with Penguin, so I'm excited to see him come into the fold a little more, and hopefully we get some of this honeycomb villain that was teased earlier. So exciting issue.
Depending on how the week goes, I might go back and just read them digitally and see, but I don't know. We've talked about that. I'm having a hard time keeping up right now with just the way the life schedule is and everything, but I just could not pass that up.
Yeah.
Another one that's a beautiful cover is that Flash 771 that I picked up. And this is really kind of weird for me. I can't tell if that's supposed to be Wally or Barry.
I don't care for that cover. I think the colors are really cool and like kind of like the pattern and design of it, but the actual character is garbage. I think I don't like that at all.
It's a little awkward.
I definitely enjoyed it. His face is a little weird. Like I said, I can't tell if it's Wally or Barry. He's not red haired.
That pose, like why?
I feel like he's got like a hunchback.
Yeah.
I didn't even see it like that.
It looks like that Leafield,
right?
It looks like that Leafield Captain America cover with Deadpool standing there. And the shield is all like flat because the lighting makes no sense on it.
Yeah.
And then a big one. All right, just jumping into some of the ones that are kind of that are honestly spec talk worthy is that Nightwing 81 this week. This is one that I know that Ryan's reading. I'm reading. We've been talking about it. This is that Raphael Grizzetti cover. Like I wasn't going to pick this issue up. There was one of these left on the shelf at open, and I do love his covers. I've got a handful of covers that he's done, like the Superman Endless Winter Special, the Green Ranger for 55 that he did. But this is awesome. And this book is it's got like the first full appearance of Heartless, as well as another first appearance in it that I don't want to spoil it for people because it is relevant if you're reading it. But there's like two big reveals in this one. And so
is it Ace?
Talking about Bat Hound?
Yeah.
No. And Brent, talking to him.
That would have been exciting.
I think I told Brent what it was yesterday, didn't I?
This morning.
Okay, so I told Brent what it was, and he made a cool connection that I didn't even think about because I really didn't put much thought into it. But maybe this person who they're introducing is heartless behind the mask. So it might be one reveal, it might be two. I don't know if that person and heartless end up being the same person, but there's the first full appearance of that villain in here.
Kind of a Mask of the Phantasm type of deal.
Yeah. And Austin, there was like one copy of that Supergirl blank left at my LCS. I don't know if it'll still be there Friday, but if you don't find one, let me know. I'll try to find it.
I think that one's been claimed. I saw Paul mention it on his Facebook. There were a couple people after it, I think.
Did the final blank for Supergirl?
Yeah.
Yeah, Steve, aren't you at home alone right now? Why aren't you on here?
Because I didn't send him the link, Ryan. Jesus. Yeah, I put this together. I thought I did good putting this together, but I didn't even think about that. Well, we both know what Steve's doing right now, Ryan. Do we really want to see that?
That's true.
Steve's hands are not free right now. Let's see. Let's see how shirtless he shows up if I send this to him. All right, Steve's got the link. Let's see. Ball's in your court, Steve, or in your hands, whatever it is you do when you're alone.
Your choice.
Yeah, dealer's choice. Treat yourself. Last run and how the new issue's turning out. I feel like there's just steadily just going down. I think that a lot of it was hype driven. That first issue, we got the reveal of who the Ronin was in it and kind of took away a lot of the excitement for me. That second issue kind of just laid out the format of how the rest of it's going to go. And now it's not a bad story at all. It's just like the third
it was a big hype book.
Pivot issue. It wasn't very landmark. Wasn't very memorable. Frizen does rule that Catwoman cover is great.
Yeah, I think the last
Ronin. We know what Batman can do with that. He's got he puts that third ear out and goes to town. We already know.
Oh yeah, I don't know if you guys saw it, but apparently there was the creators of. Okay, yeah, gotcha.
He puts that third ear out.
Yeah. Very nice.
Oh. Yeah, I think the problem with the last Ronin right now is like it's kind of billed as like a wrap up, a finale, like like Marvel did all the end books or whatever.
Yeah.
It felt like that's what the last Ronin was marketed as, but especially in this third issue, it feels more like they're trying to build a new universe to play in, and so I think that kind of like disjoints the whole story because you're expecting this and getting this, so.
Yeah, I think one thing too, Mark had mentioned it before when we were talking, was that they're sort of spoiling each issue with the cover. Like number 2.
You go in knowing who you're gonna lose.
187.
We got a homicide.
This isn't a cop mustache. This is the mustache that cops wish they had.
You have to pull like the single light out of the glove box, and.
Steve, are you wearing sleeves?
What's up, dude? Oh my gosh.
Are you seriously wearing sleeves on my channel?
Sorry.
Get out of here.
That's the big draw to his channel, though. Like he can't. He has to wear it everywhere else.
Draw to Steve.
Yeah.
I was actually literally sitting in front of the computer, watching you on my computer, packing stuff up from the giveaway wins and whatnot. So.
Dude, I shipped out 9 packages today between giveaways and AOKs to the community, and that AOK to you today, Steve, was brought to you by none other than the mustache.
Yeah, yeah, it's already sent out, man. It should be there Saturday.
Yeah, I sent him the tracking. I was at the LCS and I was on the phone with Brent. And I'm like, oh, here we go. Here's a couple of covers from Nice House. Let me see which one Steve wants. Brent's like, I got one. He's like, if you don't want to give the LCS any more money. I'm like, well, I don't mind. I'm sure they'll sell them, especially when number 2 drops,
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I have Brent's PayPal. So let me find it real quick.
Oh, dude, don't even worry about it, man. It's all good.
Pretty sure you have my PayPal too, Steve. You weren't worried about it then, were you?
I know, right?
What?
I don't know, man. It just sounded funny.
Oh, shit.
But yeah, the last running covers, like I was saying, it's like they've like number 2 had Raph on it, so you kind of knew like that was going to be going down. And then number 3 had like Leo's sword and Casey's mask, so it was kind of like they're sort of shooting themselves in the foot, if you ask me, as far as that goes. But I mean, again, I've enjoyed it myself. So
I have all of my last covers behind me. You guys are something else. They won't fit any of my boxes because they're magazine size. I guess I could put them in the slab box, but they don't fit now.
Yeah, myself, I ended up having to buy just a magazine size box because of all the Black Label stuff that was coming out, and I had a lot of those Image Plus magazines that had the Here's Negan story in the back of them. So.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Real quick, next book that talking spec on a little bit. If you're not looking for spec investment, you want to spec on a good read, I'm willing to bet this is going to be phenomenal. This is Tom King's 4th ongoing limited series that's out at one time now. Like, what does that tell you about the strength of his storytelling in these limited runs with Rorschach, Strange Adventures, Batcat, that they're continuing to give him these? And he's getting nominated for Eisner Awards, and I know a lot of people who read them do say that they read stronger in collected volume, so that's something to consider. But, if you enjoy, like I know Brent enjoys collecting individual issues more than collected volume, so there's always put them on the pool, pick them up. When you get halfway through, read them, or wait for it all to come out. But this was my pick of the week going into the week that I was the most hyped for.
Did you read Berserker 3 yet?
No, I'm going to read it today.
Ryan?
No, I haven't read Berserker 2.
But Berserker 3 is the next one on the spec agenda that I think everybody needs to make sure that they pick up.
Yeah.
Is he trying to say this hat looks small on me? Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
I have a huge head, all right?
The same hat he was wearing in that picture he sent us the other day when he was like 16.
I was 19. This hat has lasted 14 years, all right?
You needed to find the word lasted real quick.
By the way, Tom King is trash.
So what is going on? You can make it in the chat today.
What's up, man?
You're more than welcome. And also, you gave me the heads up on the camera. One, I cleaned it the day that you sent me that. I cleaned it the night before, and also found out that those glasses that I wear last night when I was live, they kept throwing it out of focus as well. Steve, do you have anything nice to say?
Yeah. Tom King is ass.
Oh Christ.
He's got a bad connection over there or something.
Yeah, horrible. Steve
Kansas internet just isn't what it used to be.
He pulls no punches with Tom King, even when talking to Tom King.
No, wait just a second, okay? I met him in person.
In real time.
I met him in person, and I thought it was great because at the time he was doing good on Batman. And he was like, what do you want to see coming up in Batman? He was asking me that. He was asking everyone. I was super nice. And it was right after the whole, Batman asking Catwoman to marry him. Like, everyone was super hyped on the series at that point. And it was great meeting them. And then from issue 50 to 85, it was horrible.
So you're mad that he didn't listen to you, huh?
Pretty much. Terrible.
Valid.
It got personal at that point.
And then, I
should have never asked. He'd still have a fan.
I did say that I didn't like Heroes in Crisis because I didn't. That was terrible. What are you going to do?
I don't know. Batcat's been amazing. This first issue of Supergirl is so good. So good.
I feel like you guys just like different stories than I do.
Possible.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Yeah, unfortunately, my both of the shops around here release DC on Wednesday. So I don't have access to them until tomorrow myself.
Yeah, so that's why we do this video on Tuesdays. One, I'm off, and for some people, New Comic Book Day starts today. We're almost a quarter of the way through the 48-hour New Comic Book Day stretch, and for others, it's tomorrow. So it works out good.
Yeah, and I was looking at my list for this week too, and really the only DC thing that I had coming out that I was interested in was the At World's End hardcover, or Hope at World's End, excuse me. So I'll be really grabbing that for sure, just to kind of, like you'd mentioned before, complete the those covers, but then also just because I don't think I've read that. I can't remember if I read it on the app or not, but also to have like the full deal. Other than that, it's a pretty indie heavy week for me. Everything else comes from Image or other ones, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Do they have Justice League 63?
No.
We got pushed back.
Which I'm okay with. It's a bummer, but I feel like I can get caught up, and I've got some trades that LCS owner sent me home with, like a stack of them that I want to try to get through. I was able to get through that Huck book by Mark Millar last week, just randomly. I'm hoping to do a little bit of catching up. So I'm glad that it's not crazy this week.
Yeah.
But the last DC one that I picked up is, dude, I'm excited about this one for a couple of reasons. Like, I wasn't excited about it coming out because it's yet another Batman title, but it's Legends of the Dark Knight, issue number 2. And I did get the A cover on this because I have plans for it, but I was just picking it up strictly on those 1 in 25 variants, the Ricardo Frederici variants, which is fantastic. He did a great job with the Riddler. I already know Pocan Joe's probably going to chase this one. That's his favorite Batman villain there. But he did great with it. And
that's a good one.
It is. And I was lucky to get, I was put on the list to get all these 1 in 25s pulled for this series at my LCS, which is good because there's only one coming in the store. It's not heavily ordered title. But somebody beat me to issue 3. They just wanted issue 3 because it has Quiz on the cover. And everyone was expecting Quiz to be having her first appearance number 3. Well, DC threw a curveball, as they do often. Quiz doesn't make her cameo appearance in this. She doesn't make her first appearance in 3. She makes her full-on first appearance, like 6 panels, talking in all of them, full shot reveals. So I managed to squeak in that Quiz first appearance right here this week. Super pumped about that.
Oh, look at this. This is the package that I got from you. Mark Landrum, 3008. Oh, maybe I shouldn't say.
Steve, are you there? Steve. Yeah, he's also doing covers on Justice League Last Ride. Derek Robertson is, and that's awesome. So he was on the C-List Villains podcast, which is an amazing podcast. If you guys haven't checked it out, be sure to check it out. I don't podcast much because of just time constraints. I think that's the only podcast that I listen to. And they do a lot of stuff on YouTube as well as on anywhere you find podcasts, which I'm not very up and up on that. I downloaded Spotify just to listen to their episode early on. But yeah, that's really cool. I might have to go back and listen to the Derek Robertson one. I don't think I've heard that one. To be fair, the New 52 and DC Rebirth was awful. Well, hit or miss in both accounts,
Yeah.
New 52 started super strong, but then the continuity was too tight to work. It eventually fell apart. But Tom Taylor's Earth 2 entire run all the way through World's End was phenomenal. There was one ongoing story with no time breaks or anything. It was amazing.
The entire Batman New 52 run is legendary.
Yeah, with Scott Snyder.
Yeah.
Insane.
Legend.
Couldn't agree more. I actually I ended up buying a number 1 off of this guy a few years ago. I think it was like signed by Capullo or something like that. Ended up getting it for $50, and like 2 years later, I'm looking at it and I realize it is like one of those apparently super rare newsstand editions. And I had had a friend of mine take it up to Greenville for a signing where I got Snyder and Glapian to sign it as well. and like I said, I looked at the barcode. I was like, that doesn't look right, and ended up getting super lucky with it. It does have it does need a very good pressing. I will say that much, but I do eventually plan on getting that slabbed because it's a rare, expensive book. I don't know. So super excited on that one.
I need to check out both of mine because I have a 9.8 of it.
Nice.
In a regular edition
Mm-hmm.
as a reader's copy. Now, the reader's copy is probably like a 9.2.
Up there.
Yeah.
I want to say they're both.
I already got it over here.
Edition. So.
I
Yes,
felt
Ron,
bad for the guy who
Derek
sold it to me.
Robertson was kind of the selling point on this. They kind of advertised it with Derek Robertson writing and illustrating it, but then when you look in the fine print, it says first 3 issues. So who knows where it'll go? I mean, you could probably look up who's taking it over from there, but I don't know. Yeah, Nick, it's definitely the full first appearance. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about this. There's no maybe the market will correct it later or take it over later. It's a full appearance.
Be one of those Spider-Man free comic book day COVID-19 deals.
Spider-Man. Oh no, it's definitely well. That's just a distribution time thing.
Right.
I tried to argue that matter, but arguments worked out in the past, like with Gambit. With the annual being his full-on first appearance.
Yeah.
And then 266 being the intended first appearance. It came out after. Different strokes and whatnot.
Ooh.
We got Nick, the comic nerd. Ayo, what is happening? Oh, thanks, Mark. No, man, thank you. Thank you. I'm forever indebted to you for that amazing promo you made in the hot tub. 100% agree. I enjoyed the Rebirth Superman stuff. 100% disagree with this. It was the opposite of terrible. His Injustice was fire, though. Yeah, Injustice is definitely held in high regard. Let's see. Volume 1, New 52 Batman Omnibus is on sale for $72 on Amazon right now. So, man, I'll send you my address. You can just A-OK. I mean, that'd be cool. I'm just kidding. I got the DC.
Gift purchase.
Yeah, it's all on there. I don't like that they kept the Justice Society out of the New 52 stuff, which has been something that I'm most excited and hyped about here with current stuff going on, getting the Justice Society coming back in from Doomsday Clock. The brief appearances in Death Metal, and then in that Stargirl annual when they're really starting to roll them out heavy, as well as the Infinite Frontier storyline is going to have Alan Scott, Jade, Obsidian in there. But I don't know what god-awful animated film they did, because that last film they did was actually really good. I don't know what's god-awful about it. But I enjoyed their take on them in the New 52. It was just a completely rehashed version of them. I like that they kind of played with the whole green, the earth and the green and everything actually being the source of Alan Scott's power. It was definitely different, but it was a great story. Well done.
Where's Alexander at?
In our hearts and on our minds always.
Hey, there you go, House of Comics. Boom.
Missing links. Boom. I try to talk about things I enjoy instead of talking crap about things that I don't enjoy. That's a very good way to look at it. But don't be sorry at all. Your opinion is definitely more than welcome here. We enjoy arguing. I enjoy arguing.
It's a conversation.
Yeah.
You do not. You push me off screen.
Yeah, the new Static Shock did drop this week. That's another one. Milestone made their big return. They pumped out that Milestone Returns. What was it, Infinity or something like that, Ryan? The one shot?
I think it was just Milestone Returns.
I thought it had a subtitle or something. But they pushed that out on the DC Universe Infinite app a couple months back, and we read it. It was
back February.
Yeah.
No, March 28th.
That's very specific. I like how you just went through your mental file cabinet. Oh, there it is. But yeah, it was good, and that Static Shock did drop. I didn't pick it up because I expected it to be available on the app. I'm trying to utilize. I mean, I've had the app since beta, and I'm trying to utilize it a little bit just to save space and to,
yeah, I've been making use of it lately.
Yeah, dude, it is amazing for back issues. They have a huge catalog, and I love the actual whatever it's called, the format of being able to read on it and highlighting how it moves.
The panel to panel.
Yeah, it works very well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of people had a lot of problems with Doomsday Clock. My only problem with Doomsday Clock, honest to God, was the release of it.
Correct.
Yeah.
I loved the story. I thought it was really cool, and I think a lot of people were expecting something so different, but for something based with Watchmen, I think it was on par.
Yeah.
Dude, this ad. Woo.
Look at Ryan's pulling to me. See, Ryan, now you get it. Ads, man.
I mean,
Icon and Rocket. I'll probably.
It was in Supergirl also. That's where I saw it. But yeah, it's a fire cover for sure.
It is.
I like the way the light hits it.
Now, does it say on that ad right there if it's digital first?
They're taking power and responsibility to a global level. Icon and Rocket season 1, a 6-issue series, July, and then just credits. No.
So, and I hate to because I know it's a point of contention for so many people, but Jeff Johns and Gary Frank really are a dream team when it comes to putting together from Geiger to Doomsday Clock to that Batman Earth 1 Volume 3 that I just read last night. It was phenomenal. It was so solid, so good.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Okay. Here you go. It's Milestone Returns, but the one they put on the DC app is subtitled Infinite Edition.
Okay.
But yeah, the one that came out in print was just labeled Milestone Returns.
That was false advertising because it definitely had a finite ending to it. Open-ended, but there was a final page in there. What is going on, Tolt Fiction? We got Mike in the building. I've got a huge package from Mike in here that I'm excited about opening up.
There you go.
Is that the newsstand? Steve, we can't hear you. Are you muted? Where are you?
It's direct too. They both say direct sales, though.
Gotcha. Well,
hold on.
Let me check mine because I want to say I can't remember if it says direct or newsstand. Hold on just a second.
It just says mine just says direct sales. So the 9.8 said the same thing. What's up, Tolt?
Ginny might or might not be Alexander either.
No,
way.
this one
is more than welcome.
This one doesn't say one way or the other. It just kind of has that shortened barcode right there.
And that's definitely a newsstand.
Yeah.
Hold on, Brent. I'll embiggen you.
Yeah, let's. Or was it the Walmart version?
Biggity, Brent. I don't think Walmart were doing those back then.
No, I'm pretty
Walmart
sure.
Doesn't have the barcode, I don't think.
Yeah, no, this one's definitely the newsstand. Got the nice little signatures on there. Yeah. But yeah, I remember looking I had no idea. I remember looking on eBay and seeing some of them were going for like hundreds of dollars. I'm like, what? And yeah, I got lucky, I guess.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's like when I picked the same thing. I picked up the Secret Wars 1 through 12, and the one that I had ended up being the Blue Galactus, like Error or whatever you want to call it. So.
Yeah, this is like I know that I'm like inside the community. I'm definitely a minority on this, but I don't know how many people read Doomsday Clock and then went to read Watchmen, then went to Doomsday Clock expecting something else. But the pacing, the tone, the style was completely in line with what you'd expect from a Watchmen era story. And there was like just some huge mega moments in there that I felt really paid off. I love the story with it was kind of playing with the duality of Dr. Manhattan with the actor at the time.
Yeah.
And the huge correction and all the revelations that it gave us of how much he'd been toying with stuff and everything. It was really everything that it should have been. I think it was one of those times it's easy to put your expectations in the wrong place. But it was great that that confrontation with him and Superman at the end was perfect. Like I think people were expecting a fist fight, but there's not a fist fight to be had there. That doesn't exist. Dr. Manhattan would just dust him, absolutely dust him.
Yeah,
but Manhattan being disassociated with humanity, and then finding it was like just these moments that he has, like when he was on Mars and Watchmen with the Silk Spectre. It was another moment like that for him, where it just snaps him back, but on such a larger scale. It was everything that it should have been, in my opinion. But the release was horrible, like Nick said. I think it took more than, I think it was actually closer to 2 years, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Yeah, and the one thing that I wish that my only complaint with that was I wish they would have done more with Mime and Marionette.
Oh yeah, they were fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. To me, that was like one of the huge, like, the first couple issues they had, or that they were in and everything, and then they just kind of got dropped by the wayside for the larger story, which is understandable, but I felt like there was a lot more to mine from them, and especially to kind of like see how their powers worked, or at least Mime's worked. That was pretty awesome. Because you think he's just crazy. You think he's just crazy, like opening a locker with like nothing in it, and then he's just like, points his finger at somebody and then does that, and I was just like, dude, that is, yeah. It was just, yeah, it was so cool. I mean, especially like with them meeting the Joker and everything, like that's a perfect pairing. But again, I thought there was more to it, but bigger fish to fry, I suppose.
Mark, I'm gonna hop off here, dude. I gotta package up a few more.
All right, bye.
Wow. You talked about how to get time last night on my channel.
Yeah, I had fun. I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Have a good day.
Later, man.
Appreciate you hopping in.
Yeah.
Bye, Ryan.
Yeah, I feel like the Doomsday Clock definitely stuck the landing, and it was awesome. It was a rebuttal to Watchmen. It was beautiful. It really was. Aggressively relaxing. Agrees. Again, I honestly would like to know what you were expecting out of Doomsday Clock, Jenny. I honestly would. I understand that you don't have to like it. I'm not telling you to like it. I would be curious to know what it was about it that didn't hit for you, because it's not going to hit for everybody. And the people that dislike it strongly.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though, toward the end, when you do the page turn and you get the splash with the JSA coming back, I'm like, oh my God, I was ready to throw the book. I was so excited.
I'd also be interested to see if they're going to do more with little Dr. Clark Manhattan at the end there, that he dropped off with a Night Owl and Silk Spectre.
Mm-hmm.
Really like to see more of that as well, but highly doubt that'll happen.
So Jason says the Batman 1's Walmart version have the barcode he believes.
Gotcha, yeah.
And it did not make Dr. Manhattan. See, this Dr. Manhattan couldn't be evil because, for one, good and evil is completely subjective. Morality is subjective, and he was disassociated.
So far away from it.
Yeah, he was disassociated from humanity, and morality is a human construct. So in order for him to be good or evil, he would have to be human, and he wasn't. He was beyond that. So that there's a lot of philosophical mumbo jumbo that's tied into all this stuff that if you're not really into, it's gonna completely miss.
And the one thing that I thought was really cool too is that even still, as like Dr. Manhattan, he's still a scientist at heart. And that's kind of what he did with the DC universe for a long time. He was experimenting with it. He was looking for different results and stuff like that. So that was very cool that it's, still at his core, that's like still is kind of driving him.
Absolutely. And the Watchmen TV show, as the C-List E-Man says here, was absolutely fantastic, which it was. I want to say
100% agree.
The first time mediums crossed and made sense. It did. And if you enjoyed that style of storytelling, that pacing, that tone of it, the current book Rorschach is for you. It actually hardlines the TV show. It makes it canon inside of the comics in the first issue. And then it just builds on that world while keeping it very isolated inside of its own story, not trying to get too big. And it has been beautifully done. Every issue attacks the story from a different angle and a different style, and it stays so focused.
Yeah, I think this last one too was very interesting with the kind of duality of the panels of the detective and like him where he is standing is exactly where Rorschach was standing before. And like they do that so much to that issue. So it's kind of like you're seeing these two things kind of come to a point right there.
Yeah.
Art is good as well, yeah.
It really is. And good news, Jenny, if you don't like a comic, just put it down and find one you do like. There's so many out there, and we're here to mention a few of them today that are coming out this week. We've already spotlighted Legends of the Dark Knight, which has been absolutely fun, classic comic booky feeling in that first issue, and I'm expecting it from the second issue. We've mentioned Nightwing 81 has been fantastic, as well as it being a key issue this week. Tom Taylor is writing a fantastic story with Nightwing. And there's surprisingly a lot of positive feedback in this chat right now about Doomsday Clock. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
I think it wasn't intended to be, but I think it led toward the beginning of it. I can't call it.
Yeah.
And Ryan's never read it, I don't believe.
Doomsday Clock? No.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know. Like, that's kind of an area of the DC universe I haven't really explored a lot of. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was actually talking to one of the guys at my local shop here about it a few weeks ago, about like where it kind of falls in the timeline and stuff. And I was actually really surprised to see that it's like supposed to be right before Death Metal. Because to me, like the way that, and I hadn't read Justice League at this point, but the way that Mark was kind of explaining it, like when they ran through that door, to me, that was them going to Death Metal, or the Death Metal, whatever you want to call it. But then for Doomsday Clock to be like buttered up right before that, I was kind of surprised. And like, even with 3 Jokers, Mark and I, like I feel like I know I got a headache trying to figure out like where this stuff kind of fit in the universe / timeline and everything. But I've since given up on 3 Jokers, to be honest with you. But
yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff out there that I need to read still. So I've been reading like 90s Batman issues lately, and
nice.
That's an experience.
Yeah.
But it's cool because like I'm really seeing a lot of Chip Zdarsky laced throughout some of that stuff. Like,
oh yeah,
he clearly grew up on 90s comics, and he's doing a really good job of like pulling the best of that stuff and kind of redoing some of the like poorer done elements from that time, so it's pretty cool. I was surprised to see all those influences.
Yeah, I really like everything he's been putting out lately. I'm a huge fan of Daredevil. Which I had been picking that up since the beginning of Soul's run a few years ago. And I was actually talking with one of the dudes at the shop, and they've completely either like forgotten about Blind Spot. I feel like that character has a lot of story to still be mined from. So I'd like to see a lot more of that in Zdarsky's run, at least. He's done a lot of cool stuff. And to me, I felt like it, with the whole Elektra being Daredevil thing, I felt like that would have been a really good opportunity for them to use Blind Spot for that, for taking up the mantle of Daredevil instead of Elektra. But I guess for, her character purposes, it's kind of makes sense. But I think Blind Spot definitely needs to make a comeback for sure. Yeah,
people have really enjoyed his Daredevil run. I need to read some trades of it or something and get into it.
Oh man, it's been really good, dude. If I had some extra issues, I'd definitely send them to you.
Zdarsky's run on Daredevil is the only Marvel book nominated for an Eisner out of 12 nominees. It is the only show of a Marvel anything, and it's for Zdarsky's writing on Daredevil.
Yeah.
DC I sprinkled in there. Tom King is sprinkled in there. We Live is in there. And Marvel, I know Marvel's really popular amongst the masses. And you got to be honest. You got to call a duck a duck. And it's because of the MCU. People are just hype over the visual, easy, digestible, craze hype. So when they step into comics, they're just naturally, well, what's going on with Marvel? That's my introduction.
Right.
There's not fantastic storytelling going on at Marvel across the board. The vast majority of Marvel comics are subpar, extremely subpar, and it's a real letdown.
Well, I think a lot of that comes from the fact that, Feige has even stated that they're using the comics to see what works and what doesn't for the MCU, which I think is a travesty just for the characters and really comic writers and artists and stuff like that, because I just don't think that that's what they should be doing. Like I enjoyed the way that they were kind of doing their own thing from the comics and stuff like that, and to kind of use them as like a testing grounds for the movies and stuff is just it's a bad idea. But that being said, I think that is also why Daredevil is doing so well, is because it's not a part of the larger MCU anymore at this point.
Yeah,
They're just letting
I think
Chip
that
do
might
his thing.
change soon if Zdarsky when he runs his course. We have rumors of them wanting to bring Daredevil back into the movies, even rumors of Charlie Cox making some form of an appearance
I would
in the
love
next
that.
Spider-Man movie. And, Marvel getting rid of all the Netflix stuff so that they can have those characters to play with. So who knows what the future holds. But
Yeah.
talking Marvel, there is a big Marvel book dropping this week, and that's the final Donny Cates issue of Venom, with Venom number 200. So we know that Donny Cates will be stepping over to the Incredible Hulk, which really bums me out. And Donny Cates is notoriously known for not sticking a landing on his series, which, in my opinion, King in Black kind of fell off at the end. It had a great first issue, and then the rest of it was just, I don't know, it was just shallow spectacle, like not trying to be cynical or mean about it. It just, that's how a lot of events go, to be honest. And
yeah, well, I think that's another kind of like travesty with Marvel, is they're not like letting their people take big risks anymore. It's like, oh, we're going to change all this stuff and this big event, but now it's like we're going to wrap it up in a way that didn't change anything at all. They really need to just keep the cinema and the comics two different things. So
what is Marvel even doing right now that's like truly unique even within their universe? They have, like, I was gonna say Beta Ray Bill, Immortal Hulk, and Beta Ray Bill, Immortal Hulk, and Daredevil. That's probably the only 3 unique titles they have out there in comic books, and then everything else is just kind of stuff that's really feels like packed for the movies.
Right, and I mean, granted, those 3 titles are things that Marvel aren't doing anything right now in the movie. Well, minus the Love and Thunder thing that Beta Ray Bill has been talked about to be in or whatever. But I also don't think you could have put anybody better on Beta Ray Bill than Daniel Warren Johnson. Don't even get me started, because I'm going to go on a roll with that. We all know where that's going, but I mean, dude, like that's like. Again, I feel like they're going to use that as some basis for the character moving forward in the MCU, which I don't know. I'm not going to repeat myself on all that stuff, but yeah, Beta Ray Bill has been really good so far.
I'll give them Strange Academy also. So they got 4 unique titles, and everything else they're putting out is just like the same like movie stuff. They're just trying to recycle and find something for.
Yeah, speaking of Nice House on the Left for DC, I think it's pretty interesting and cool.
Nice House on the Lake.
Oh yeah, dude, Mark's got me doing that now. Jesus,
I know.
Sorry. That's like I saw that episode the other day, and that like ever since then it's been the Nice House on the Left. But
or the Last House on the Lake.
Yeah, one of those. But no, I think it's been cool that they're kind of getting into more independent titles on their on the Black label, because they got the American Vampire in 1976, I think it is, and now the Nice House on the Lake. They're not tied to any kind of DC continuity, so that's pretty cool. Yeah,
I think it's interesting. Like, DC has a pretty solid track record for not continuity related things, even in the movies. Like, the best movies they've had are the ones that feel more disjointed from continuity with the rest of their movies than the ones that are, and you go over to their comic books and it's the same thing. Like, all the Black label stuff that's not connected to any other continuity, like,
it's been so good.
It sells like gangbusters. And then their ongoing titles are just like so hit and miss.
Well, I think
it took 9 issues for Tynion to make a point, and people think that makes it a good series.
Right. I think that it's like because DC are trying to, their main titles and everything, they're trying to be beholden to a continuity. But then you have people like Sean Murphy that have done the White Knight series, and it's completely their own thing. It's his own take on it. and they're pretty much given free reign, so it makes it interesting and stuff like that. So I mean, minus the Harley Quinn little mini series that they just put out, the White Knight universe has been amazing. I'm hoping that I wasn't a huge fan of what they did with Red Hood and the Harley Quinn little mini series. Have you read any of that?
Mm-mm.
Gotcha. It basically, they, like, at some point, spoiler alert, by the way, Batman ends up getting arrested. You know, he outs himself as Bruce Wayne. He gets thrown in jail to, like, do his time. And he goes, "Get me Jason Todd. He's the only one that could, like, you know, keep me from escaping. Not that I'm going to try to, but, you know, that he's basically Batman's warden, right? So he's built to be built to be this big, you know, character and everything. And then in one issue, Batman basically locks him inside his own cell. It's like, come on, dude. So it was, I don't know, that whole storyline itself, I think, was just to kind of get Harley to her own hero status in that universe. And it just, very weird. Yeah. Very, very weirdly done. But yeah, to kind of make my point, it was just kind of the Black Label stuff. It's not beholden to anything, and they're giving you know, these guys free reign to do whatever they need to with it, and it's been great. There haven't been many things from Black Label that I haven't picked up, outside of the American Vampire and I think the Birds of Prey series that they did. I think those are the only two Black Label things that I haven't gotten. But I would also like to see them get away from a lot of the Batman characters as well and do more stuff with, you know, even though Flash. You have, like, Flash would be awesome.
I have an awesome Flash Black Label idea.
Dude, send it
They'd
in.
probably never approve it because Batman doesn't appear in it.
Right. Just put a quick cameo and they'll be like sold.
Sold, right?
Yeah. But yeah.
I hate the way that like, Batman crowds the shelves. Like, that's what people forget, that not everybody's, like, looking at everything the way that we are and knowing what's coming out. Like, I go in the store, I know exactly what books and what covers I want, you know, but not everybody's like that. And so when you approach a shelf and there's, like, 15 Batman covers and then there's just, like, occasional characters in between those, what happens is people walk in and they look at that shelf and it becomes Batman.
It's overwhelming.
In turn, you're selling less other characters, and you're justifying more Batman by saying Batman's the only thing that sells. But the only reason that Batman's the only thing that sells is because Batman's the only thing you're offering to buy.
Yeah.
So, you know, it becomes like this very, like, insular problem of, like, we're only selling Batman because Batman's the only thing that sells, but you're not giving people other options. So what do you expect them to buy?
For sure. It's really overwhelming. And then even too, like you said, someone that may be coming into it a little new, it's like, where would I even start? You know, it's just, it's a lot. Yeah, I'd love to see more Black Label stuff with, like, The Question. That was a really cool series. I really enjoyed
Blue Beetle.
That. Yeah. I mean,
like,
I love Jeff
that's the
Lemire
thing.
anyways,
like, Black Label, I think the other misconception is people think Black Label has to be, like, some kind of dark adult thing, you know, and, like, that's absolutely not true. Like, you could be doing Flash and Blue Beetle and, like, you could do, like, a Captain Cold thing. You know, like, there's so many characters
for sure,
doing, like, these really cool, unique stories. Because, and this kind of ties into, like, the Tynan thing, like E-Man was talking about up here. You know, Nice House could have been on Boom or Aftershock. Absolutely. But he talks about in his newsletter, whenever he signed a 2-year contract with DC, it's an exclusivity contract, which means he can still write books that are already in publication, but he can no longer develop properties or books with other companies. So that's why you're still getting his stuff from Boom Studios. But whenever he came up with the idea for Nice House on the Lake, he had to go, okay, I'm going to have to sit on this idea and hope that my name is still worth the credit in 2 years when I get off this contract and can take it to an indie. Or I really like the editor I have at DC. What if I work with him and we convince DC to let me do the first creator-owned Black Label project? And along with that, because one, they knew his name was guaranteed success, but I think because they're feeling the pressures of what the indies are doing, especially now that you see all these like indie superhero books taking off that are just like basically deconstructions of DC characters. They're feeling the pressure of like people are just going to these publishers because they'll publish anything they want. We need to figure out how to, take the wind out of those indie sales. So why wouldn't you get the biggest name in indies that's already signed exclusively with you to create an indie style book and see if you can't push that creator owned idea and push against that market, So I think there's a lot going on there, but that's the bulk of it is why does it feel like an indie book? Because DC's trying to figure out how to beat the indies at their own game.
Yeah, and I feel like especially right now, Tynion's the guy to do that with. Something is killing the children going on and stuff.
160,000 pre-ordered copies sold on Nice House on the Lake.
Wow.
Like, that's a win. Even if it isn't well received, the book was already a win.
Yeah.
Have any of y'all been reading Last Gods that comes out on Black Label? I haven't.
I'll be right back.
Sandman universe stuff.
No, I haven't read any of it.
I haven't heard anything.
It sounds cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did I miss?
Mustache that walks.
Talking about Pop's comment.
Yeah.
What is up, Legion? Is that the mustache that walks, aka Brent? Good to see you. Does this mean this episode will spike in value because of your cameo? Absolutely. Absolutely. It's always good to have Brent on. Schedules don't always permit. Another one. Have you had a chance? This is the last one that I picked up from today. It's just a DC day, everything else tomorrow, but 0 Point did come out. I'm at the point where I'm not even opening these because I see myself just giving them away or selling them to a good home down the road. I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but they are all available on the app, free of charge, included with your subscription.
I've heard the value's quickly diminishing on those. Like people aren't even chasing the codes that much for the last two.
They're more accessible now, right?
Well, I know that things went on sale openly on the Fortnite store in June. So I don't know what date exactly, but probably about now. But I don't know if that means that the stuff that's still coming out was automatically put there, or if it's like today, now that the last issue's there, now you can suddenly buy it all. But I've definitely heard like people were selling those first ones for money, and now like you're lucky if you get the $5 back off of it.
Yeah. I'm not excited for the new Fourth World Omnibus by Jack Kirby because collected Fourth World volumes of Jack Kirby stuff has been around forever. And these omnibuses are not for me. I understand that a lot of people like to pick them up. It's not an easy way to digest content. They're too big. I don't like to have to stretch, light candles, cover myself in essential oils, and find a nice table and a comfortable chair to sit down in just to read a book. So I do understand why people do like them because you get a lot in one volume, but I've been a trade buyer for years. Like you can get the exact same thing, especially for something as old as Jack Kirby stuff, which is all up here behind me. All that stuff's been around since the 70s. So it's been collected and redone over and over again, countless times. It's been accessible. It's way cheaper to get it other than an omnibus. But if you're collecting omnibuses just because they look great on shelves as well, it makes perfect sense. And if you haven't read it, it's a good chance to get it all. But I feel like if all you're concerned about is getting a chance to read the story, it is not by far the best avenue to take. If you just want to read the story, pay $5, download the app, read them all. If you want to own it, go to a used bookstore, go to eBay, buy a collected volume for pennies on the dollar compared to what you pay for the omnibus. But so it's really just I don't know what you're buying it for. If you want the omnibus for the collectability of an omnibus, but for me, reading them, it's the most difficult way to read a comic that has ever existed. What was a win? Is that Ryan said the title correctly? Clam chowder.
Title? Clam chowder. Oh, okay.
I'm not sure I understand the
clam chowder.
You'd have to reword it. Man, I have to be picky this week. I can't pick up everything. Makes me sad, but also it's for something awesome. I believe you spoke on that briefly on your channel, if I remember correctly. You have something you have planned for family stuff coming up here soon, I believe is what you said. So yeah, family first. And you can always sit around and read comics with your family instead of whatever it is you had planned. I'm sure they would appreciate you for that. Yeah, same man. 3 today, 3 tomorrow. Thanks, Black Label, like Black Label Society, LOL. Let's see. I go back and buy the Marvel Essentials that are black and white on newsprint and cheaper. Yeah, those are like $20, and those bad boys are like this thick. I even think that there might be 1 or 2 up for sale on that secondary Instagram page that myself and Pops are running, loc.pops.attic. I can't be 100% sure, but I could have sworn that there's at least 1 up there. Not 100% sure on that, but those are amazing ways to digest a story. It's just the most affordable option, huge collected volumes, and they don't spend money on coloring the pages. They just black and white them so they can be even more affordable. But it's just like the DC did the same thing. It's Marvel Essentials and DC Showcases. Yeah. For those on a tight budget, I understand why you can sell your organs south of the border. There you go. E-Man always has a solution.
Oh.
Ryan said last house on the lake in spite of Mark programming everyone.
Who knows? It's just going to become a bunch of acronyms anyway.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Just like
TN.
the children where they acronymed the actual book. They didn't even go with the
even they got tired of typing that out.
These came home from the LCS today. These were donated by my LCS owner and threw them in there for free ski. These will be used as giveaways on the channel. So that's awesome. I know there's a lot of people that missed out on these or didn't qualify for them or whatnot, whatever. And these are the 8th prints. They're up to 8 prints now. And it was a cool little gimmick to promote Berserker as well as that. So, yeah, a lot of good stuff. Next up, man, we have what's that?
It was a nice gimmick to promote Berserker.
You don't think so? It was a fun gimmick.
It didn't need any promotion.
I like gimmicks, man. It's something to talk about. I didn't gimmick with them because I didn't get any of the foils for Berserker. But something is going to Children Collection hardcover 1 through 15 is up for order in the new previews. It should ship out in October. That's pretty cool. Hardcovers are enjoyable to read. $49.99 is a good price for that many issues. You know, hardcovers that you get, I don't know, like 6 to 8 issues in, just like a trade paperback, they just collects whatever the next issues that they're collecting between 6 and 8. They normally go for between $24 and $30. So $50 price tag on 15 issues. That's a great bargain.
Yeah.
I heard someone mention there were people talking DC on the tube. I knew it had to be Mark. Yeah, it's I actually was just talking Something is Killing the Children, and we're about to switch over to, I think it's Image Comics and Skybound that are putting out Ultra Mega, isn't it?
Yes.
So it's definitely spec worthy for just amazing stories. This happens every now and then where some stories are just so good, they're just so genre bending that a few people read them and then they're like mind blown and they tell other people to read them and other people, and then it just spreads like a virus where people just need to read them just to have experienced the insanity that is the book. And We Live is a perfect example of that. Ryan and myself are pushing that book from issue number 1. Ryan is the one that first spotlighted it. He included it in one of his new comic book day videos before it dropped, and he talked about the premise and how it definitely had his attention. And I'm like, I'll try this book out. Read it, life-changing. And we warned people that it was going to happen, and it's not like we're huge purveyors of comic speculation, but we know a decent story, though. That's all it was. We knew how good the story was, and it's really the story that has drugged this book's hype. It wasn't anything else. These are not existing characters. There's no inherent value in any of it, but the story is
no options.
Yeah, no options. It's just so damn good that people have read it and said, you have to read this. And so many people are saying that now that the the demand is higher than the supply.
They're finally releasing spoil book, and
Say again?
that's in reprints. They're finally selling spoiler covers for this book.
And
that's in reprints. That's not even like new covers that are spoiling the previous books, And that's kind of impressive because, people live tweet their experience watching WandaVision at 3 a.m. in the morning because they just love to spoil stuff so much. So the fact that We Live has went this far without being spoiled on a pretty major level, is really impressive.
And you realize that you and I have still not talked spoilers openly on this channel. And it's not like we talked about it or planned that. It's just something that it just does not feel right to do. It's doing a huge disservice to that book. Yeah. We never sat down and said, dude, we have a show that's literally focused on spoiling comics. How are we going to handle this? We just didn't do it. It's like, yeah, it doesn't feel right. You just need to go read it.
I'm not it really is a book that people just need to read. You absolutely need to read it. And
we do have that new free comic book.
I bet even XJ9 Jenny would like it.
I'm sure. I am sure. In all sincerity, if they like great stories, that's one, and it's not tainted by any kind of outside market or anything like that. So Jenny,
there was no 24-month release schedule.
Yeah, it was on point, on time. It was 5 issues contained. So if you catch the rewind or anything, let us know in the next comments. Drop a comment under this video if you've read it or what you think about it, all that good stuff. Let's see. Here we go. Thoughts on the Bad Idea Bamboozle acting like they are going under only to come back out under another name. This was all talked about by Bad Idea months before them doing this openly. And if you follow their stuff closely, it was nothing to it. It's just they're just continuing to do gimmicky. They're being gimmicky, aggressively relaxing. Says it shows that the people who made it are excited. So they're just really excited. They love playing with the comic distribution genre, pretty much. They're just having fun with it. If you watch these people in interviews, they are having an absolute blast making comics that people are talking about. And I'm not sure if anyone's enjoying them. I've yet to hear hardly any feedback on any books other than ENIAC. I think Slot said that ENIAC was great, but I don't know. I don't know how the stories are. I've
heard ENIAC is really good and Tankers is okay. Consensus wise.
Yeah. I heard Slot say that ENIAC was good, and I haven't heard anything else beyond that. Or it might have been Chip Getler, the White Shadow himself.
Probably. Yeah.
Oh, you know what now, Austin? You know what?
Oh yeah.
Austin, you need to post a want list in a private chat that we're all familiar with, because we know with your art you prefer to do trades. You don't necessarily look to sell your art. You like to use your art to fund your collection. So you should put a want list out there so people can actively work toward acquiring more of your original pieces, which I can say I'm a happy owner of an Austin LeMay one of a kind. Yeah.
Yeah,
Chris has a
awesome.
good point, Austin. There's a quick answer for you. Now what? Draw on it. Maybe one Saturday, I'm not going to tell Chris what to do, but it sounds like Austin would be an obvious person for drawing with the professor.
They should attempt a connecting cover via the internet,
Yeah, they can sit there and draw separately and then touch tips. That would be great.
Yeah.
Don't cross the streams, guys.
Yeah. We were just starting to open the can of worms on Ultra Mega and how amazing that's been, and how I think that it has We Live potential in just it's not necessarily in the secondary market, but in the aspect that it's as more people read this, they're going to tell their friends to read it. Like the Murder Falcon effect, the We Live effect. This is the final issue in the first story arc. I don't know if this is the final issue before a break or if they're going to come back with more. I just know this is wrapping up this first arc.
Yeah. That book was amazing.
Yeah, here's the thing with that book. I think the price tag keeps some people away. However, because it's under Image and they do such an excellent job with trade collections and getting those trade number ones out, I'm excited to see how they handle turning this into a trade and what they're going to do with that, because there's no way they're going to put these 4 issues together and sell it at that $10 price point. There's just no way.
No,
but if they can still get it in at like $15, maybe $18, I think they could gain a pretty big audience out of that. So,
yeah. But as you've mentioned before, there's no better book for your buck out there right now than Ultra Mega.
Oh my God, the value is so packed in. It's worth
for sure
that $8, $9.
What I really liked about the first issue of it and stuff was it kind of threw you into this world where a lot of the stuff was already established, like little things like Jason walking around with a giant head and stuff like that. That's like, you kind of have to pick up for yourself that that's part of his like depowering process and everything like that. And even going back with like his first wife and son and everything, there's so much there that they haven't even still touched on, at the end of this arc. So, not only does it have value already, but it has very high potential value in the future as well.
Yeah. And I touched on like the obvious biblical comparison that was made with like him having the kid with the first wife that went south. And then if you look at the Bible, it's the whole Abraham with Isaac and Ishmael, like when he wasn't patient and he went and had a kid with his servant, and that was Ishmael. And then his wife ended up getting pregnant and he casted them out. And then fast forward, you get the Muslim Christian wars that have been waging forever. So there's a clear comparison there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I really like how Ultra Mega just kind of like throws you into the fray. It doesn't really explain anything. It doesn't contextualize anything. And then as the elements like come together, it kind of brings together this worldview of the book of like that individual issue, but it just leaves so many questions that it doesn't hurt the story that they're unanswered. It actually makes it a little more fun, but it's also mineable material, for any kind of like future spinoffs or future arcs or anything we might get out of this, because there's so many things they can just like take off with,
For sure, yeah. Yeah, it's like how they make you answer these or ask these questions without like full on asking you or whatever, but then later on the answer just kind of presents itself naturally. They don't make a big deal out of it. It's just something that is understood and just kind of happening.
I really like that.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It never feels like anything is like, I'm going to write this big twist and people are going to be shocked.
Right,
It just feels like that's where the story goes, and it makes sense. And sure, it's shocking, but it never feels like pretentious in the way it's presented.
Yeah.
I'd have like one question for you in regards to this book, Brent. Like you're up to speed. You've read all 3 issues.
Mm-hmm.
Boosh?
Oh. Boosh. Yeah.
Boosh.
Yeah. That was a really cool
God, that was so great
character. Yeah.
Right.
I
love the way that the characters made the assumptions for us,
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna take this guy. This will be an easy victory.
Yeah.
Not exactly. Not exactly.
With me, you'll get through this, and then he just bails on him. I'll take that one.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
So that story has been gangbusters. I highly recommend it to anybody and everybody, whether you find it digitally or you pick up floppies. If you're still able to find them, it's not one that I believe has inherent resale value. There's like 1 in 15 variants out there, some B covers out there. As Austin mentioned, there are some blanks. So there's some covers to choose from, and you can probably find them pretty affordable, but it's just a must-read story. It is very adult-oriented, very R-rated, very gory, very graphic, grotesque at times, but it is amazing.
Yeah, I remember we talked about it. We were kind of worried about issue number 2 coming out after the I don't even know what to call issue 1 at this point. Amazing is yeah. Yeah, it's just I don't even think amazing like really touches on it. But yeah, that we talked about it being a little nervous, like how do you follow that? And then dude was like, this is how we follow that.
Right.
Like, oh, okay, I got you. I see you.
Yeah, and we spoke about that as well. Like, is this going to be able to continue this dynamic? Like, this was what was so awesome about this has now been abandoned and left behind in this first issue.
Yeah.
Like, you just drew me in with something that is now already in the past before I even finish this book. So how are we going to do that? And there's this huge universe that they have available to play with, because we know that this is, at this point, this is like an alien feud that's been going on for God only knows how long. The whole introduction of the power felt very, felt like Radiant Black lended itself a little bit from this, because I'm going to credit this no matter what with being created before Radiant Black and being told to Kyle Higgins in a boardroom somewhere. But that fourth issue of Radiant Black reminded me a lot of like the presentation of this power source to humanity in this as well. Yeah, but it was really good.
Yeah.
What else y'all looking forward to this week? I believe that I touched on the ones that I was aware of kind of needing some attention brought to them, especially being that most of them I'm picking up and reading.
Yeah. I mean, I could turn out complete here. I'm not opposed to that, but I feel like people are really like sleeping on this Compass book.
What is it called?
Compass. You can add that screen. This is, I mean, it's got like Greg Rucka's name attached to it, but it seems more like in a like production type role. Because it's, let's see, it's written by Robert McKenzie and Dave Walker, with Justin Greenwood on art. And I mean, I like this cover. I think this cover is absolute fire. Kind of reminds me of Chris Samney's work, but I'm not quite as, this one's a good cover too, but it didn't like blow me away. But what's really cool about this book is it's about this woman from, I think she's in Iran. She's in the Middle East for sure. And they describe her as a scholar, cartographer, astronomer, mathematician, scientist, explorer, adventurer, and when need be, a two-fisted fighter. So to me, this sounds like a Indiana Jones, Nathan Drake from Uncharted, Lara Croft from Tomb Raider kind of character, where she's going to be out exploring and discovering things. And it brings her to 13th century Britain. So it's set in the 13th century. It's not like a modern day story from Baghdad and during the Islamic Golden Age. So like, I'm really interested in this because this has a lot of potential to me to be something very like Indiana Jones-esque, where she's after like Middle Eastern artifacts and stuff like that. Yeah. And I think that's really cool. If you look at like Layla Starr, that's another book I'm really in love with, because it's dealing in a pantheon of gods that I don't know a lot about, you know, and so it makes the entire back history something new and relevant to me. Same thing with Yara Flor, you know, like these are things I don't know about. So I'm really excited for this book. I think it's going to be really cool. And I feel like nobody's talking about it for some reason, though.
Yeah,
I mentioned it on my new comic book day video because it's an image number 1, right? That's issue 1 coming out. Yeah, I made sure.
Yeah, I mean, another point is like, who isn't grabbing image number 1s at this point?
I think everyone's moving over to Boom number 1s right now, in all honesty.
True. Just get away from those Dark Horse number 1s. They're garbage lately. But yeah, I think this is going to be a sleeper hit if people don't start paying attention to it. Yeah, like a female Nathan Drake. I mean, how does that not sell a book? That sounds amazing to me.
Yeah.
And are you still getting Project Patreon or Patriot? What is it called, Ryan?
Project Patron. Yeah, I really like this book. It's not necessarily the things within the book that impress me. Like, obviously they do because they stick with me, but the things that it really gives me to think about and ponder after I've read this book, you know, like it just sits with me for a really long time. It occupies a lot of space in my mind. And so I think it's a really interesting book on like a psychological level. The read itself, I mean, you could argue it's boring because a lot of the things that happen are not like over the top spectacular, you know, but there's still cool things happening. And like I said, it just like leaves you with all these like thoughts and stuff, you know, and just more like exploration of what the fallout would be of a situation like this.
And are you still picking up Usagi Yojimbo?
I haven't picked up any in a while. I kind of want to check out this new one because it's got a new character and it's starting a new story arc and stuff. But I don't know. We'll see if I even bother reading it. I would like to assume I will.
So I was going to mention that it's supposed to have a new first appearance character coming up in it. What is up, Mars Comics?
Yeah, it's like a distant relative or something of his, and she's kind of gonna spin off into her own story, from what I understand. Oh, here's another number one that like I'm not expecting big things from this one because it's a pretty like played out story, but it's a story I always love. Seven Samurai was awesome. What's the Western version of it?
Magnificent Seven.
There you go. Boom.
Oh, yeah.
Seven Swords. It seems like each of these characters is going to have a sword that's like built in a different style of combat, and so they're going to have to come together to fight off pirates or something. So I mean, like I said, it's a pretty played out story. I wouldn't suggest you go out and grab this expecting massive spec value, but I think it's a kind of story that a lot of people like. You bring together seven alpha personalities and put them together and see what happens, and that's always a fun story to me. Yeah, something like that. Exactly. Yeah. So I'm gonna check this one out, but like I said, I'm not expecting it to be like some kind of big breakout hit or anything.
Speaking of Seven Secrets drops this week as well, and that's another one that I cannot scream its praises enough. And I know it's such a weird format, and I almost feel guilty trying to talk anybody into reading it to try to convince them, just wait till you get to issue 6. I mean, it's not bad getting to issue 6. It's just nothing to write home about. But when you get to issue 6, it is something that is just so amazing. It's absolutely stellar book at this point. Every issue, as soon as I get home, it's the first thing I do is I read that book. I find time for it. If I don't have time for it, I pretend like I'm going to use the bathroom or something. Like I got
Time Before Time 2 is dropping this week, and this issue was really cool. Like, it seemed pretty straightforward. I thought I knew where it was going, and then like there's some mishaps and kind of like sets up a different a different journey for the rest of a different path for the rest of the journey, I guess. So I'm interested to see where it goes in number 2, and I like the artwork. I love the covers, so I definitely want to check this second one out.
Yeah, I'll definitely be picking up the first few issues of that one to see how I like it myself. So that was actually on my list this week as well.
Yeah. It has. See, I really like those A covers. The B covers are okay.
The big white backgrounds and stuff are always really cool.
Yeah, I'm not too into the character design that's on those covers. But they have some pretty sweet covers in here. And I like the A ones I've seen for 1 and 2.
Definitely,
Mars. And I like the trade dress.
I promise you, real quick, Mars. Issue 5 is where like a major war breaks out, and issue 6 is where just the book completely reveals itself to you. You are not ready for what they have in store with issue 6. I promise.
Let's see. Everybody's talking about Berserker. That'll be out.
Of course.
The Miles Morales Clone Saga.
Yeah.
I wonder how that's going so far. I know that Cheers to Comics spoke in high regard of it at the start of it a couple weeks ago.
The Clone Saga?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard like mixed things. I think, you know how like I feel like the Clone Saga was not great because of the way that it was handled, like they were making it up as they went, and then some people really like latched onto it and really liked it, but a lot of people didn't, and so I feel like this is going to end up being like, okay, now we know how to do this, so we're going to plan it out properly, and it's going to be like better done, but less people are going to fall in love with it.
I can see
it's like
that.
A weird thing. Yeah, it's like a weird thing where whenever it's all rough, people fall in love with it, but then once you polish it up, they're like, eh.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of skipped out. Like, I was picking up Spider-Man for a while, but whenever they came out with the Clone Conspiracy a few years ago, I was completely disinterested in it, but I'm also a big Ben Reilly fan, being a 90s kid and everything. So I was kind of excited that they decided to bring him back into stuff, but even then, whenever they came out with his own series, I was just kind of skipping out on it. I didn't like the idea of him being like a bad guy or anything. That's just my personal preference. But I'd heard it was actually pretty good and stuff like that. And then they gave him a new suit, and I was like, dude, y'all are killing me. you know, and then I think eventually he went back to the OG, like light blue hoodie and scarlet spandex and stuff. But I just, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of roller coasters with Spider-Man books lately, apparently.
Yeah.
The last couple of years.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, man.
What did you think of Spider Shadow issue number last issue?
I'm sorry, you're saying me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Ryan's not reading it.
I thought it was kind of an interesting take on a couple of the characters, like how they immediately dispatched Doc Ock, and then they now have Brock Ock, which is I want to see more of for sure. I didn't see them getting the suit off of Peter so quick, but kind of like the ending to it when it's like, oh, you know, he showed us how to be a hero or how to save people, but it's like it's like the suits or the symbiotes like definition of saving people is kind of turned like it looks like they're going towards like the Carnage and Toxin type of stuff. So I mean, honestly, for me, like, you can't go wrong with Zdarsky. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty cool.
I absolutely loved the story. Hate the artwork, man. Like, I was trucking through it in the first two, and this one completely lost me with the inconsistencies.
Yeah.
And the horrible panel-to-panel work in it. Like,
for sure.
Hate when you have to, like, read a book and you have to go back and check to make sure what did I miss? Wait a minute, something's off.
Yeah.
The worst.
That's been one of the like most consistent things I've heard in every review of this series so far. Like, you and everybody else said the first two issues, like, it's not good art, but it was tolerable, and then this third issue, like, everybody is just completely hated. So sounds like it's getting worse as it goes.
I really feel like they're doing Zdarsky a disservice with these books, because, like, with Spider Shadow, with Life Story, excuse me, it was an awesome story, but Bagley's art just did not fit the tone of that at all. Way too bright. I get trying to, throw a big name on it and everything like that, but I mean, that could also be chalked up to the colorist of that series, but it, and I would have even been cool with them doing a different artist for each issue, for each decade, you know what I mean? But
Marvel knows what they're doing with Spider-Man at all. Like, you have everybody in the community complaining about Spencer's run on Spider-Man. Nonstop Spider-Man is garbage. Like, there's nothing hitting Spider-Man at all. You get high praises from Life Story. They bring Zdarsky back to do another one, and then they put another crap artist on it. I don't know if they're just trying to get a cheap artist in there to maximize value on this. Zdarsky might not be as cheap. I mean, he's not been around as long as a lot of other well-established, long-standing names that just come with fandom, but I don't know why they're attaching, I hate to say it like this, I won't say it like that then. I don't know why they're attaching art talent to it that is not held in high regard with a writer that's held in such high regard at the moment.
Yeah.
Like, why would you bring everything to the table?
I don't disagree 100%. With you, but there's also Last Ride had 2 typos in it. So,
I've noticed that a lot.
Last Ride number 2,
and not just.
And so I'm starting to wonder about I wonder if Zdarsky's hitting his deadlines with time for the rest of the team, or if there's something else going on altogether. But it's kind of weird that we have 2 Zdarsky books, especially those were the same week, right? Or within a week of each other. But that's 2 books that there's some questionable things about the quality, and the one connecting piece of tissue there is the writer. So I kind of wonder what's going on with him too.
Yeah, he's what else is he? So he's juggling. What is it? Last
Batman,
Ride,
Urban Legends,
Spider Shadow, Stillwater, Daredevil. He's doing a lot right now. Which, I mean, I don't think that's really an excuse to, if it is chalking up to like being his stuff. Me personally, I would think that's an issue with the letterer, because that's not the first time that I've seen that, and maybe not in just a Zdarsky book, but a lot recently across a few titles.
Well, you have to go through a lot of different red tape to go from Zdarsky writing something down to someone printing something on a book. You have to get through, like you said, the letterers, the editors.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is like automatically the amount of eyeballs that a book goes through out of a big publisher like that, it just doesn't make any sense that nobody
Right.
noticed that. And the first time I read the book, I was like, well, that don't make any sense.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this to
You
in
know,
any type of way to be mean, aggressively relaxing, but you make one person
Yeah.
that I've heard that
you
from.
really do.
I
Not that I've read any of it, but I
yeah,
talked to a lot of people,
I
listened to a
talked
lot
to
of podcasts.
all over the place. Probably one of the biggest
It's
Spider-Man
rough for
fanboys
Spencer
is
right now.
co-host on Sunday nights, and he buys it, he reads it, and he's just heartbroken every issue. And the last issue he did say was or maybe 2 issues ago, he said it was better than it's been, but it was still only okay. And that's really been across the board. I mean, I do find people out there who try to find good stuff in it, like this was better, but overall his run has been poorly received.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really feel like putting Otley on that book too was kind of not a very good idea. He's got like, especially with this colorist, like Otley was great on Invincible. I thought that like his artwork and the colors fit that book really well, but it's the same problem I have with Life Story. Like something about the colors just is not hitting right for me. You know, I picked up the first couple issues of Spencer's run, and just for me, a lot of it was the artwork turning me off from it. Something about Otley on Spider-Man I just can't get with. But
Ryan, let me ask you a serious question. How close in your mind is Zdarsky to earning himself one?
Earning himself one what?
A disclaimer.
Oh. I don't know. I mean, at least to my knowledge, he's pretty far from it. But, you know, there's just some questions coming up about, and you hear people talk about this, you know, like Ron V talked pretty openly in his, I think his last newsletter, about how, you know, like he knows he can only take on so many projects or he can complete so much work, but he had to push himself past that limit to find it, you know. Aditya Bidikar, he letter of like all your favorite books. He ran into some health issues at the end of December, and a lot of that stemmed from how much time he was spending doing work, you know, just like sitting and lettering books and stuff. And so for this year, he had to pull himself back some. So there's definitely situations where creators, as you get bigger and bigger, more projects are put at your doorsteps, and you do have to find that balance. I hope that as Chip Zdarsky keeps getting bigger and bigger and he's taking on more projects, I hope this is a sign of him finding that balance and not necessarily the early steps of him going too far and losing some of his credit because, you know, toward the end of the year, some of his books start to miss deadlines or whatever.
He doesn't Jeff Johns himself.
Yeah, pretty much. But I mean, that's the other thing is like you're kind of seeing it flow downhill too. Like if his script is in time for the book to come out, but it's too late for the artist or the letterer to really get to put their due diligence into it, well, then it looks bad on them, you know, and that could also hurt his professional relationships, you know. Who's going to want to letter for a guy who's known for getting the script to you too late to really do a third pass, you know?
Right.
So hopefully in the same context of what you're saying, Jeff Johns found that same limit with himself. You know, he was consistently amazing for a long time. Then he hit this weird era with delays and big projects and stuff and just stretched too thin. But here recently, there's been no problems. Post Doomsday Clock, there's been no Jeff Johns problems. So hopefully he can keep with that same train going on. And, you know, he still has the shows that he's producing coming out. He's dropping books all over the place. He's crafting the return of the JSA, which I couldn't be more excited about. There's no better person to work on that team than Jeff Johns. He understands them in a way and presents them in a way like I'd never seen before. And there's just I hate that he's gotten disclaimed. He's earned it. He's absolutely earned it. And he's only done it to himself with the way he wrote the books and the questionable things about how he handled himself on sets and stuff, which, you know, like we've talked about before, might have just been attached at the hip to other things that were happening outside of his control. But hopefully he found his limit in where he can operate and where he can't operate. And he keeps back on this year's been good to be a Jeff Johns fan, where the past couple, it was horrible. But I hope he keeps it up.
I look forward to like another year and a half or so down the road from here. We can drop the disclaimer from him, but got to put in that work, buddy. Got to earn your credit.
Got to earn it. You earned the disclaimer. You got to earn the get undisclaimed. But the first step in the right direction, the first step, and there's many steps to go. But Geiger issue 7. Geiger issue 7 will be the first test of your mettle. So we know that Geiger has been coming out. It has been strong. Gary Frank, and like I mentioned, that dude has got a bad back from carrying series on artwork alone.
Yeah.
Earth One Geiger, he is phenomenal, like so amazing. There's some weird little, I wouldn't say body dysmorphia, but some weird, what would you call that? Size comparisons and some of the
proportions.
Proportions, yeah. There's some strange proportions every now and then, like in the Diner and Doomsday Clock with Dr. Manhattan's forearm, like you pointed out back in the day, Brent. When you open Volume 1, Earth 1, that first, they chose a weird image of Batman to be that first turn before you even get into the book. It's him holding his wire with the wire attached to his belt, rappelling up, but his arm is just kind of odd looking, but overall he's fantastic. Yeah. But the first 6 issues of Geiger were turned in. Yeah, I don't know, doing my hands right now.
I don't know, doing my hands.
We're guaranteed the first 6 issues of Geiger to be on time to come out to the readers. No problem. Image needed 6 issues from him. So after that, what's going to happen? That's where we'll really see. But hopefully this being his first step over to Image and a passion project and everything, him working with someone who works well with him, that they clearly worked on stuff before, maybe it'll be fine, maybe it won't, but it will be that first step, that real test. Let's see what's happening.
Yeah.
And as far as the JSA goes, who knows? Like that could be a bad sign, you know. Doomsday Clock was a while back when they brought him back. I know DC was in upheaval and there's all that restructuring and replanning the future of DC. So I'm sure things didn't roll out as expected, like their return, the whole 5G thing getting canned, all that stuff. But it's been a long road from Doomsday Clock to here.
Repackaged.
Yeah. They sat, and there's a lot of creators out there that talk about it. They sat down and they looked at what they felt was strong with it, what would work, and they talked about how can we not waste this and use some of this. That's why we have Yara Flor right now. That's why we have Jace. Like these are entertaining characters. They really are. I'm not saying that we need more Batman characters or more whatever, but they're handling them properly. At least those, you know, they're rolling them out, they're introducing them, they're working them in where they fit in. They're giving us this the next Sun Batman story that's just a quick 5-issue backlog on him getting there. You know, it's just they're doing their due diligence with these characters, whether people end up loving them in the long run or not. At least they're fleshing them out.
Yeah. I don't pick up a whole lot of that stuff, but I've heard a lot of really good things about these characters.
Justice League Dark with Merlin. Boy,
oh yeah,
yes.
Dude went to go. You thought Arthur lived in Atlantis? Maybe not. Maybe not. Merlin's about to go raise the real Atlantis, the original Atlantis.
Maybe that's what happens to Aquaman in Last Ride. We thought it was a nuclear bomb, but
Here we go. Most of
they're just going to dry him out.
Story, but ASM is being asked to participate in so many other things. I'm not too sure I know what you mean. Like I followed the Kindred. I didn't read it, but I followed along with what was going on with the Kindred thing. And there was a little bit of hype going on about who it could be. That character Kindred wasn't like well received. Like you can look to eBay to find out how well received something is. You really can. If it's well received and people are talking about it and hyping it and loving it, they're still selling. People who miss it go to look for it and pick it up. Nothing about Kindred hit that point. And then the reveal that it was just Harry let a lot of people that were invested in it story-wise down that I've spoken to. And then nothing since then has really been gangbusters. It's just been weird. They tried to hype up a little bit and get some more people on board with changing his suit up, and everyone for the most part didn't really care for it. Some did, but then it was just kind of odd the way that they played it, and it was just weird story going on in that sense. We hear come down. It was like weird social media stuff, and I don't know.
I don't. Not to negate the fact that, like, you know, having to tie your book into like the larger universe as a whole is definitely a problem, and I do feel like Marvel stumbles with that more than DC at times. But at the end of the day, if you're told you're going to have a comic book coming out every month, then you have plenty of warning to know that you're supposed to write a comic book every single month, and it should be on time. And by that same token, if you're told we're going to give you Spider-Man, but it's also going to have to tie into these other things, then you have plenty of forewarning that maybe you shouldn't be so focused on writing your particular story about Spider-Man and forgetting that you have to connect it to other stuff, you know? So it's hard for me to completely say, oh, I feel for you because you have to connect to like this larger event. But at the same time, I understand that can affect storytelling as well, you know?
We've seen the same thing happening with Tynion drawn on Batman, where it seemed like it was kind of treading water for a while. It was sitting still in one place. We can see what direction it was pointed at, but it wasn't moving the needle at all forward. And it went from Batman 100 to Batman 109 before it took one step in the direction it's been pointed at. And that has a lot to do with what I assume they have a bigger universe they're having to placate to. They have to line up their story with other events that are going to be happening. So we're stuck with filler issues. So as like
and that was miserably handled because like I get the Flash like basically wrapped up like a major moment, you know, and then it's like, well, we have a couple of issues and then we got to like take a 2-month break and stuff. So I get them with the filler issue stuff. Like it was stupid, but whatever, do your thing. But like Batman, Tynion like handled that as if he didn't even know that Future State was coming. Mm-hmm. Like he could have turned that into an amazing moment where he had people sitting with bated breath for issue 106 to drop, and instead he just like wrote right through it with filler crap, like he had just planned to write 10 issues of filler anyway, you know? I'm like, why wouldn't you set up like you could have like had us all waiting for 2 months for 106 to drop and find out something about Ghostmaker, but who cares? You know, like the hiatus made no sense in the regard that like one of the architects of their universe didn't even seem to plan for this 2-month break on his own series. Like he could have done so much with that. It was such a squandered opportunity. It made no sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's so weird to see him like, and this is kind of what makes me ask like how many fingers like DC actually has and like all their titles and like the stories and stuff like that, because you see Tynion like knocking tons of other stuff out of the park. Department of Truth, which is like sleeper hit for me, one of my favorite titles on the stands right now.
Easily.
But then Batman. Yeah, but then Batman is just kind of like, it's all right.
Yeah.
So it's almost like we've been waiting for the other shoe to drop for the past 6, 7, 8 months, wherever we're at this point.
Yeah, I mean, my thing with it is we know that DC and like we know that comics are moving more and more toward like decompressed trade writing. And so I think DC has their hands heavily involved in Batman as a title because they know if there's a trade of Detective Comics and a trade of Batman sitting on the shelves and some kid walks in to pick up their first ever comic book, which one are they more likely to grab? The one that has Batman right there across the front, you know? So I think they're very heavily involved in that, and that's where they're trying to mine like all of their TV show stuff as well as like what's going to work for selling and getting kids into comics. And so I think they have their fingers in real strong on what's happening with that title. And but aside from that, I also think that Tynion's just like, you know, he talked about it in his newsletter. Like he took Batman on as for name recognition because he knew he had all these other indie titles and stuff that were either coming out or were already out. And so he knew having his name on a Batman cover, you know, consistently was something that was going to help him sell all the other properties he has. And so I also wonder how much he just doesn't care what DC does or doesn't let him do, you know, like just color inside the lines to keep my name on the shelf for a while, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's a smart business move on his part, but at the same time, like I feel like that's also kind of a fine line between like if he's doing really bad on Batman, why are other people going to be picking up my other stuff? You know, hopefully I think that maybe he be counting on word of mouth a little more than Batman selling a all that stuff, because I've seen his name on a bunch of other DC stuff from like the New 52 era and everything like that. I want to say like he was on the Constantine book for a little while after Ray Fawkes was done with it, and little like other stuff here and there. Like I want to say him and Snyder did the Batman Eternal series as well. So he's like been in the background of that stuff for quite a while. So it is really off-putting or weird to see Batman just kind of treading water right now. Like I don't want to say it's bad or anything, but with stuff that he's been put, yeah, I know, but that's you.
I mean, and if you think about it, from like your trades are going to be 101 to 105, and I don't even remember what happened at the end of 105. I'm sure there was something significant there to somebody. But then if you look at like the next trade would be 106 to 109, right?
More than that.
106 to 110.
I mean,
I think they generally collect like 6 issues in a trade. Unless you're trying to squeeze
lately they've been a lot of
Batman,
4.
So.
But yeah, I mean either way, sense, like it's all just like writing to like the decompressed storytelling so that there's something big at the end of the trade, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's just been weird the way that he's handled it.
Yeah, especially like with him like being on all those titles, and you know, you would assume that he has a pretty firm knowledge of the characters in that universe and stuff. Unless it's like building to something like mind-blowing at the end of the stuff, which is kind of hard to like.
Well, he's definitely a build and pay off kind of guy, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
His writing like builds up over issues, and then you kind of get these big moments.
I do.
But I think it's an eggs in a basket kind of thing where like Batman, he's, you know, that's a paycheck and it keeps his name being broadcast, because I think he also realizes once he leaves Batman, well, then the Batman money's gone. You know, you're only getting paid when you write. He might get something down the road off of some of these characters if they ever take off, but that counts on people also not forgetting about them because he doesn't want to develop them. But I think he's really focused on making sure that something is killing the children, and Department of Truth and Nice House, like all of this creator-owned stuff. That's what's going to keep him paid down the road. Like he's not getting paid off Batman once he leaves writing that. But if they're selling like Erica Slaughter masks and Erica Slaughter plushies, and something is killing the children's trades, and like the X's on the eyes of Department of, you know, like all of that kind of stuff, the merchandising rights and the trade and all of that stuff, that's where he's going to get paid down the road for work he's already done, you know. So I don't blame him at all. He's putting all of his eggs in the right baskets, but you know, I think it's just kind of frustrating to see a Batman title just kind of like go nowhere for 10 issues at a time.
And it seems like he's like planting all these different little seeds, because after Punchline, I feel like which I know he had, I don't think he did, you know, that was his creation. That was still Tom King, right? Yeah. So Punchline? Like I think that was like late 90s. Oh no, he'd taken over after 85, right? Yeah. But he's like started laying down.
That was in the Joker War, wasn't it?
Yeah. That's blurry for me. That's like a few months ago, and I've slept a couple times since then. So, but he's like planting all these like little seeds of these new characters, like Punchline, Miracle Molly, and all this stuff. And then you kind of have the Simon Saint like showing his hand with the Magistrate in this last issue and everything. So it seems like it's coming to a boiling point right now. So hopefully it's like all this kind of starts to make sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, the only problem there is you didn't mention any of the other like long list of characters he's created, because everybody forgets about them, you know?
Right. Like
we haven't seen Clown Hunter in like 6 issues or something
since annual 4.
Yeah,
people are really into the designer. Now nobody even knows that character ever existed.
Well, they burned him. He was dead, just a Joker toying with people the whole time. They turned him into like for the Joker War.
Yeah, it's all like it's a big waste, you know. Like, why develop these characters, drop them into the world, and then just never talk about them again?
There's got to be something coming down the chute for Clown Hunter, though, because we haven't seen him since December.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
December. Here it is.
That was the annual, and he wasn't in any issues of Batman the month before that, right? Like that was his last time in
Yeah, he was in the Batman issue going right up to it. He actually was on the cover B for it and everything. And then
For
we had
what?
the annual.
105?
Yeah, I think so. It was that one that the Clown Hunter cover B. It was really cool. It was like an in-house Lee variant or something.
Because he definitely wasn't in 106.
No,
and I haven't heard anybody talk about him appearing since then because I quit at that
wasn't
point.
In Future State. You know, we were talking about it and wondering if he was there, and we were just unaware of it as the Red X because there was, you know, we were sitting there analyzing. They did a full face reveal of Red X, and you no way pinpoint who he was.
Yeah.
And you can't disqualify anyone either. I mean, obviously you know that he's of a light skin complexion, and that's all you know.
Yeah, it's
if that's not like recontextualized as just a bright room.
Yeah,
exactly. There was a lot of energy going on in there. That was such a great issue, man.
Yeah, piggybacking off the whole Simon Saint showing his hand type of thing. It's that hopefully that is the thing that brings all these other characters like back together and stuff. I was gonna say too, like I feel like Ghostmaker had a lot of potential.
Not me.
I know. But I don't know. I like the idea of him like working with Batman after all that kind of stuff, but now he's just kind of babysitting Harley Quinn and got this weird little story in the back of each issue.
He's trying to give her the third Batwing.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Like it's like you said, kind of him
was squandered.
Yeah, for sure. Which I mean, that seems to be the trend, but with a lot of the stuff that's been going on, again, Miracle Molly just kind of showed up a couple issues ago, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I knew you were Batman and everything," and all this stuff, and now it just completely like I get they're going a little more towards the Magistrate and Peacemaker 1 coming out and everything like that. So this is hopefully that little bit of a spark that is building that fire. But
yeah, that's the thing. Like Batman, it sounds like people are pretty, I don't know, kind of lost on what it's even trying to say, or what the story is there. It seems like it's just wandering around.
That's the story. The story is Matches Malone.
Whereas like Detective Comics is absolutely crushing it in the opposite direction. It's still not like one of my favorite titles. There's a little bit too much going on in it sometimes, but it definitely knows the story it's trying to tell and bringing Bruce Wayne into the story a lot more. And I'm really enjoying that. So it could be better if they would drop some of the backstory stuff there. Like 2 backup stories was too much. It cut the main story down, but they know the story they're trying to tell. So that part is enjoyable for me.
Yeah, I've been picking that up myself. I'm trying and not doing a very good job of keeping my pull list to a decent amount of titles and stuff like that, but it's definitely difficult. There's a lot of good stuff out there right now.
Yeah, I'm really trying to cut back to just picking up the physicals for books that I know I'm going to want to read again and actually like mean something in my collection. Because I have way too many books that I might have enjoyed the book. It might have been a really good book, but the story isn't quite like evergreen enough, I guess, that I think I'm gonna go back and pick it up later.
Right?
Like Future State Imperious Lex. I really enjoyed reading that story. I highly doubt I'll ever pick it up and read it another time in my life, though.
Never.
Yeah.
So like, what's the point in having that take up space in my collection? So those are the kind of books I'm kind of trying to trim as far as like picking up. But you got stuff like Supergirl dropping, Catwoman, like I have to pick those up, books that I want to read again and again.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that about Supergirl. I hope it starts strong. I plan on reading it as soon as
it's here. It's such a good start. It's a really like I'm excited to read it again because it was just really solid in the setup.
I hope Crypto makes it. We all saw how Future State was. Poor dog.
Yeah. He gets it pretty rough in this one, so.
Oh, man, fiddlesticks. But, guys, we've been going for right under 2 hours at this point.
Yeah.
The whole house is asleep, which is perfect, but it's getting to that point where they're probably about to wake up. I want to be prepared for that. Look, Brent giving us the bat wing right now.
Yeah, I really like this shirt.
It just reminded me of that movie Waiting. Oh, the bat wing. It's where you stretch it out and it's all veiny.
Need to go see a doctor.
Deep cut.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're getting ready to wrap it up here. Excuse me. Ryan, you dropped a video today. It's Tuesday. That means it's Creator Conversation Day on Cosmic Campfire. Who did you sit down and roast a conversation with?
I got to dip out, fellas. Y'all have a good one.
All right, Brent, make love to the night.
Yeah, sorry I had to go so fast, but later, fellas.
Take it easy.
Yeah, I dropped an interview today with Omar Morales of the Lunar Ladies, which is coming out from the Lunar Ladies is coming out. I want to say in July is when the first issue drops. It's from Scout Comics. It's a 3-issue series. It actually tackles Moon Girl, who is a what do they call it? Public domain character from way back, and so he kind of took
motion.
Yeah, right.
What do they call it? French tickle.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, the Lunar Ladies that comes out in July. So if you haven't checked that out, I think FOCs for the first one are already been turned in, but definitely look for it. Try to get a copy of it. If nothing else, you can order it directly from Scout Comics. And then the other 2 issues still have FOCs coming up. And then it should be out in a trade maybe like 2 or 3 months after that. So keep your eyes out and check it out, but because the story sounds really cool. But yeah, that's Omar Morales. I dropped the interview with him today. Yesterday I dropped a video about Exo Manowar Volume 2, and I'm kind of proud of the quality of the video because I kind of tried to structure it in a way that people could use it for reference. Like if you're new to Valiant and you want to get caught up or something, but you don't feel like reading all the books, then go check out that video. It's almost like a Wikipedia entry. It's got all the chapter bookmarks and stuff. So like whatever you need to know, you can probably find pretty quick. So I'm pretty excited about how that one turned out quality-wise. And my channel is Cosmic Campfire.
I'm linking it now.
Awesome. And then other than that, I didn't drop any videos on Saturday or Sunday. However, I did at Week's End on Sunday night, this past Sunday night on Mark's channel, so you can check me out there. Friday, we did a live stream. Thursday, I dropped my comic book picks that are coming out for today and tomorrow. So if you still don't quite know what you want to pick up this week, then definitely go check that out, and you can see what books I'm excited for. Even though we talked about a lot of them today, but better details there. So check all that stuff out.
Friday we'll have some pre-read knowledge going into Friday. So kind of talking non-spoiler reviews as well, because I'm going to try to truck through some books this week. I tell you what, I want to read Berserker 3 today. We have those advanced copies of those. So I know that Thursday night we'll be on Burke Family 54's channel with Steve and possibly Pandawesome 316, depending on his schedule. I don't want to just put him out there and say he's going to be there. I know he's had a lot going on, coming back from vacation, getting caught up on work and all of that. But we're supposed to be reviewing Berserker along with a couple of other titles, which I'm sure we might talk Nightwing as well. So I want to make sure I have that read before then. But yeah, I'm going to probably do an unboxing video sometime today with Finn and see what we received from Tulp Fiction. I think. Or either do a review of those clear backer boards. I have had a set of those sent to me, and so I'm going to do a review of those and put them up there and hopefully send some more people that way because they are pretty cool, man. They're definitely pretty cool, and a lot of these Jang variants have art on the back of them, so that might serve well having 1 or 2 in there. Let's see how it goes. I appreciate that, 62. Thank you so much. And then Friday mornings, guys. Friday morning is the Legion of Comics Community Hangout. So if you're a content creator on YouTube or if you're a comic guy on Instagram and you are heavily involved with and enjoy hanging out and talking with the content creators of YouTube, I have an open forum hangout on Friday mornings. It starts at 7:30 a.m. real time. And me and Tyler from Whack Comics started out and we get going. I start sending out links to people that I know. And if I don't know you, hit me up on Instagram so I can get to know you because it isn't just a free reign to get on there and talk about doomsday clock sucking, even though we will have that conversation if you want to. But it's not a place to come and troll. It's a place for the community to spend some time together because, man, this community is so awesome. It's so welcoming. I haven't been doing this long, and they've welcomed me in with open arms. So it's just been really enjoyable to get everyone together and just have a good time and just talk comics, life, philosophy, the universe, whatever comes to mind. And if you want to know what's coming out every week, Ryan, as well as myself, both put out new comic book day videos where you'll find some overlapping content as well as completely different content. And you can check out, no, we haven't yet.
We're just about to get to it.
What did you think? So luckily drops tomorrow. So we will be talking about that and hope that you can join us this Friday. Again, E-Man, you're more than welcome anytime on the channel. You're awesome, dude. Awesome community member. And Ryan just put the reminder in there for this Friday. So me and Ryan, we try to go live about 3 times a week. We talk pre-release today. We do spoiler freeze on Friday afternoon, and then we spoil the hell out of the books we read on Sunday nights. And I feel like that I'm beginning to notice I have less and less energy on those Sunday night shows. Have you noticed that? Like I'm just burned out by Sunday night. All I'm thinking Monday morning.
Well, I mean, this week you were pretty solid, but I think the week before you were kind of rough.
Yeah, that's my work weekend, and we're coming up to another work weekend here. I'm already maxed out. I'm already got a waiting list going for this coming weekend, so it's going to be a busy one, man. It's going to be a busy one. We'll see how it goes.
That's cool. You have nothing else turned into like a Sunday afternoon.
I've thought about that. I was honestly thinking about that last night, kind of dragging it down in time. But different people do different stuff, and it's not a matter of stepping on people's toes, but it's a matter of wanting to do the stuff that I have. Like the shows are kind of fit into my schedule that works best for the household as well. Like right now, this started with kids running around beside me, and then they all fell asleep. And then on Sundays, getting home from work or being off from work, we have dinner and kids winding down and stuff. That later time they're all meant for bed. Finn will make brief appearances toward the beginning of those weeks in, but by the end, he's done. The wife and the baby are already asleep in bed when we start. So I don't know.
Well, and I can tell you, like, as a creator and like somebody that has to go live and stuff, or I shouldn't say has, but the hardest part, even beyond like making time for it or stepping on other people's toes, is just like the things that I have to miss to do it. Like I love doing Steve's show every Thursday night, but or that like 1 week a month that he does like the auction instead, because that's like my off week, and so I get to watch like Lost in Comics and stuff because these are like live shows that are usually going on about the same time as us on Thursdays, and so I have to miss them for that. So that's the other part of it, is it sucks. You have to give up things that you do want to be a part of sometimes. But
yeah, like I watch Rigged on Sundays every other week. I know that Wink Inc. does a show, and I started watching it. It's fun, just high energy. It's a real big chat hangout. There's really no format to it other than just a chat hangout with him there. And I love his energy, man. Like the
so
he has going with the boardroom and everything. It is just enjoyable.
Like people like him and Louis, they bring a certain energy to it. They just like they put you in that same mode, and you're like motivated and high energy and laughing and excited.
And as soon as it's over, not even sometimes I don't even make it till it's over. I'm already Googling how to start a Ponzi scheme. Like I am in it. I am completely in it.
Yeah.
I'd love to sub to a lot more people in the community. Yeah, I'm subbed up to a ton of them, and I sub up them as I find them. And I try to watch as much as I can, especially at my job. Just let them kind of roll in the background and catch what I can. But there's such a large community. I've found that like I kind of fall into a niche of certain videos and certain creators, and I try to catch myself doing it and try to expand it and step out a little bit and everything. It's not very easy,
Yeah.
Time is relative. Time is
I took the kids and dropped them off with my mom on Saturday, and so we're gonna pick them up this weekend after Father's Day, or I guess on Father's Day.
Oh,
so I got them like
Father's Day, isn't it?
Yeah, and Rick and Morty. Totally. I mean, it's Global Rick and Morty Day, so that totally outweighs Father's Day.
So I'll be working on Father's Day.
Ugh, that's the suck, man. I mean, I probably will too, but I can get out of it a little easier. But they're gone. So like yesterday, and like Saturday they left, and I came back home, and me and my wife like cleaned the whole house, and then Sunday we kind of like hung out all day and stuff. So yesterday was like my first day of like her being out of the house all day and no kids around, and I watched all the YouTube and listened to all the podcasts that come out on Mondays, and I was just like, holy crap, like this is how much time the kids are taking from me. Like I usually don't quite get through everything in a single day. And so yesterday evening, it was like hard for me not to just like start subscribing and turning on notifications to like all kinds of stuff, but I was like, once they come back, I'm not going to be able to keep up with this much. So I'll listen to it or watch it for now, but adding to the subscription list, like it can get difficult. Just like my comics, like there's so many, I want them all, but I don't have that much time.
Yeah, there's not nearly enough time. I've gotten to the point where I try to catch more lives than anything because I love the interaction as well, Because there's a lot of people that go live, so you're able to catch a lot of them. And Chip Gettler, he hangs out on Friday mornings in the Legion community hangout, and it made him think, and he saw a big gap in the lives, like leading right up until Louis Saturday Night Live. There's a huge gap amongst the people that we're more familiar with, in the community at large and little smaller little sub communities and stuff that people kind of just talk more and know each other more. There's a huge time gap there, and he filled it with his live community hangout so that there's somewhere to go almost every day now where you can enjoy at least participating in the chat. Or in like the sense, like on Friday mornings, if you're a content creator, you're welcome to hop on. Or with Chips, if you're a stranger with Wi-Fi, come on in. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean that's the other thing. Like I think I caught every live show last night that I usually miss.
Yeah, so I'll be working on Sunday, and on the weekends I do get extended lunch breaks because the kennel is only open for limited hours, like Saturday morning till noon, and then Sunday afternoon. It's kind of tailored to traveling because people leave on Fridays and Saturday mornings, and they return on Sunday afternoons or Mondays. So there's no reason in being open to the public, and there's a residential stuff nearby. So trying to be respectful to people who are off from work and wanting, so it keeps everything calmer. So I get these extended breaks because we do go back, and even though it's not open, we're there, but we don't have to be there just listening for a phone to ring. So I get this extended break in the middle of the day, but my kids and my wife, as well as my mom, are going to be down at our Civic Center watching the Baby Shark live show that's coming to Augusta for one day and one day only, and it happens to be on Father's Day because that's where every dad wants to go to celebrate Father's Day.
I know, right?
There's a lot of screaming, pissing kids singing Baby Shark on repeat and not in unison.
I mean, you mentioned people, and I was out, so
yeah, go on.
Turn it into little people. It's even worse.
Yeah, but so I don't know. It's going to be a chill day for me. I'll get a nice, quiet nap in. Who knows? I might decide to do something with YouTube, hang out with the good people out there who are not being pulled into different directions, doing things that they don't want to do to celebrate a day for them. So who knows how it goes?
Oh my God, that describes me so perfectly.
Yeah, it's your birthday. Where do you want to go to eat? I just want to relax. So
honestly, I wish you would go and eat and just be here.
I've had that conversation numerous times. Where do you want to go eat? Shoot, we said a drive-through or something. No, we need to go eat somewhere. Like, what? Why do we have to go to Outback? I don't even eat steak. You know what I'm saying?
Blooming onions, man.
Like, are you sure this is for me?
Right. I hate all of those events. Father's Day, Easter.
I'm definitely
my
grateful.
birthday.
It's a good. It's not just for me, as what I've learned. It's a chance for the family to get together and be with each other. It just happens to be surrounded by the event that I was born on this day. Yeah. It's Father's Day. It's time to get everyone together and celebrate the fact that it's Father's Day. You happen to be a father on Father's Day. That's all.
Yeah.
It's fun. I mean, my whole family, my entire family lives in like a 5-mile radius of where I live right now. We see each other daily. We talk to each other daily, but it's still enjoyable to get people together. But sometimes it's just, you're just tired. You know what I mean? It's just, this is a lot.
Yeah. Father's Day is the only day I truly regret my children.
Well, let's hop off here before we say things that we can't take back, Ryan. And I'm going to go help get these kids are starting to stir. Everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Look forward to seeing you Friday morning on the community hangout, and then again Friday afternoon on the Cosmic Campfire for pre-weeks in. It's linked in the chat, so be sure to go hit that reminder. And as always, I'm Mark, but we are Legion.